Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip Shannon, let's get to it. Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. I'm Jenny Taft with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Happy Friday, guys. How are you?
Friday, yeah. I mean, you know.
Did anybody but me watch the Clippers last night? Did you see Kawhi Leonard last night? Is that not the greatest mid-range jump shooting since Michael Jeffrey Jordan? Is it not over? Clippers over Lakers? Should the Lakers just call it a season and go home?
So you don't want to give me my credit for picking the score. You don't want to give me that credit. You don't want to tell.
You said it'd be 15. It was like 38.
It was 23, and I said this. How many points did I say the Clippers would score? 120
did you?
to 105.
Well, then you know better than I know. It's over for your Lakers. That was a tour de force. Patrick Beverley is back. What do we have to talk about? We should just call this show off.
So was LeBron playing last night?
He was probably watching, saying,
LeBron
likes to curse publicly all the time. You see those tweets?
Yes.
That's all he does is curse in public. He was sitting watching that game saying, "Oh, bleep."
We had some other things we were cursing about earlier today.
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about that.
You guys bringing
Here we go.
up. LeBron,
bro.
guys, not too happy. Let me explain. After Richard Jefferson said that Giannis might be a Pippen that needs an MJ, Jay Williams chimed in saying even LeBron played that role when he teamed up with Dwyane Wade in Miami. LeBron didn't take too kindly to that and responded with this. Explain to me what the bleep I gotta do with this subject matter. I'm over here minding my damn business, preparing for Houston. And by the way, I ain't never been nobody but my damn self. That's followed by a crown and another, a little swear word there. I can't say everything on TV, guys. Shannon, do you like LeBron's tweet?
I love it. At some point in time, Skip, you got to call out this blasphemy. Now, I don't get what Richard Jefferson's talking about. Because Scottie Pippen was never, ever thought of as better than Michael Jordan. And see, Skip, you remember when this pandemic went on in early parts of June. It was supposed to be released later. But because we were in a pandemic, there was nothing on television. They released this documentary. It was called The Last Dance. And what The Last Dance did is that it clouded people's judgment because people believe that Michael Jordan won every finals that he played in the NBA. And that's not true. Michael Jordan, in his first 3 playoff appearances, won 1 game. He got swept twice. He won 1 game against the Milwaukee Bucks. So if I'm not mistaken,
how many did you score against the Celtics in that first game?
It was not
how about 63?
So let me ask you a question.
How about God and sneakers?
So is it about scoring or is it about winning? I just need to know. Because the argument that you always use when Peyton Manning was putting up these big numbers, you were telling me Tom Brady was winning titles.
So you're saying Michael Jordan's overrated. Is that what you're saying? I think you just said that. You just made the case, and that's the wrongest case you've ever made in the history of this show.
I'm going to get back to my point. I love D. Wade. I love what he taking on his 3 sons, raising them. One of his sons chose to live her best life and says, "Dad, I want to identify as this," and he supported it. Even though he caught a lot of criticism, he said, "I love my child and I want what's best for my child." So I love D. Wade. Even as D. Wade won a title, D. Wade was Finals MVP. No one has ever said Dwyane Wade was a better player than Michael Jordan. No one has ever said that.
No.
So for for Jay Williams to come out and says that LeBron James was Scottie Pippen to Michael Jordan was a flat out lie and flat out wrong.
It's not a lie. It's just wrong.
It's
just
a lie.
Wrong. Yeah.
It's a lie.
Well, it's not. I mean, he's not like making up. It's his opinion.
Skip. At some point in time, there's a lot of opinion that floats around that gets information. My point is that has Giannis played great? No. Giannis is about to be a 2-time league MVP. He's Defensive Player of the Year. So under that argument, the year that Michael Jordan won the Defensive Player of the Year and the MVP, who was Michael Jordan on that team? Because he got bounced in the playoffs. See, people got to stop this foolishness that Michael Jordan got to the finals every year and he won every year. No, he didn't. His first 7 years in the league, Michael Jordan did not get to the finals.
Okay. Well, it took some time.
Okay.
And then what happened?
Skip.
Well, tell the people what happened.
Skip, give me a
Once he
second.
broke through, what happened?
Skip.
6 straight times, 6 straight
What
MVPs.
So if you don't mind me asking, how many years has Giannis been in the league?
Yeah. Okay.
So who's to say once he break through, he doesn't keep it going?
Is that what you're predicting?
see-
No, are you predicting that?
Oh, my goodness.
Well, do you see that? We deal in opinions. What does your heart,
My
what your gut tell
opinion
you?
is that people keep making Michael Jordan is transcendent. He is a historical basketball player. But can we stop this notion that Michael Jordan never lost? Michael Jordan won every game. Michael Jordan went to the playoffs all 15 years. He went to the playoffs all 15 years. He won the title all 15 years. Okay, yes, Giannis didn't play up to the MVP standard against Toronto. He lost. But Michael Jordan was MVP in a bunch of years that he did not even make it to the finals. And nobody said a thing. We've got to stop this, Skip. If a guy wins the MVP in a season and he doesn't win the title, you got to stop thinking he's a bum. That's not true.
Okay.
But it's very seldom, Skip, that a guy wins MVP and the finals in the same year. So when Kevin
It's very seldom because it's only happened now 3rd time.
No. I'm just saying the regular season MVP.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Defensive Player of the Year.
No. I'm just saying the regular season. I'm just saying the MVP.
Yeah.
Because the year Kevin Durant won the MVP, Skip, did he make it to the finals? No. So what was he?
Okay, he was back-to-back Finals MVP when
Skip,
it mattered.
that was not then.
Okay.
You keep trying to move the goalpost.
I don't move the goalposts.
Yeah.
I'm just spitting facts back at you.
2014, how many Finals MVPs did Kevin Durant win in 2014?
He was stuck with Russell Westbrook.
You changed the argument. You changed the argument again.
No!
Change the argument again.
I first guessed that. I was so far ahead of that curve, it was a joke. It was a joke. I was the one. I said, do you see what's happening in Oklahoma City? Did I not? You got to give me credit. I first guess. I don't second guess.
Skip, that's not the argument.
I make it first. You look at it in hindsight. I make it first. I first guess everything.
Okay, Skip. You get kudos for that, but that's
not from you.
Skip, but that's not the argument in this.
Okay, what is the argument right here, right now? It starts with Giannis.
Yes.
Who is he? What is he? What will he be? That's the subject at hand.
He's a two-time, he's about to be a two-time league MVP and a defensive player of the year.
Okay.
That is a young player.
Okay. What did start this? Richard Jefferson tweeted, Giannis might be a Pippen. He said, might be a Pippen, ... There I said it. This is the tweet from Richard Jefferson, who obviously played with LeBron. He's played a long time in the league. Not a great player, but a pretty good player.
Great. So how good? So if he's not great, how many good players have won the MVP in the regular season?
Okay, I don't know what the point is of what you're asking.
But you said he might be a good player. He's a two-time league MVP.
I'm trying to give him some credibility here. He played alongside LeBron.
Yeah.
He loves LeBron, right?
Yeah.
Okay, might be a Pippen about Giannis. There I said it. He needs his Jordan. That's the tweet that detonated all this from Richard Jefferson, okay? I co-signed that tweet because I first guessed that. I told you last year, games 3, 4, 5, and 6 against the Toronto Raptors, Giannis shrank. What do we call him? 6'11"? He played like he was 6'3" in that series in the last 4 games. In the fourth quarter of those 4 straight games, he completely disappeared. He was ineffective to the point he was shooting 29% from the field over those 4 games because they walled him off and said, you have a big hole in your game. You have no mid-range jump shot. You cannot hurt us from 7 feet or 8 feet or 12 feet. This year he tried to shoot more threes, and sometimes he can be fairly effective from 3. Right. But when the pressure is on, he cannot be effective from 3 because he's not a very good three-point shooter. And you know and I know he is a liability at the free throw line, especially in playoff games. See what happened the other night against the Heat when he had a chance to make it a little closer. Remember, with 43 seconds left, and he badly missed 2 straight free throws that surprised nobody. So here we go again against Miami, a smart team, tough team mentally and physically with a good coach in Eric Spoelstra, and they just said, we're going to do what Toronto did last year. We're going to say, you can't have this anymore. In the regular season, he gets all he wants at the rim. He is this generation's Wilt Chamberlain, just finger rolling at the rim. He just swoops to the hoop and lays the ball home. And once he gets downhill on you, you know and I know, you cannot stop this man. No. But you can stop him with your mind and your strategy, because if you take that away, he doesn't have enough more to complement his game to hurt your defensive strategy of build a wall about 3 feet from the basket, right? Okay, that means by his standards, he is being overrated. I keep doing that, and I'll do it in all caps, overrated, because he did just do something only 2 other players have ever done. MVP, Defensive Player of the Year in the same year. And by the way, speaking of Defensive Player of the Year.
So what did Jordan do in that year?
Okay, that's fine. But he did it. Is that not a historic feat?
Giannis is going to do it. Is that not a historic feat?
Okay, I ask you, did Michael Jordan ever flame out in a playoff series the way LeBron did in 09, 10, and 11, twice for Cleveland and the first year in Miami? Did one time he ever have one playoff series where you said, Michael, what happened? You shrank, you disappeared. Nobody ever said that. Even when he wasn't getting out of the first round, he was scaring the holy hell out of the Boston Celtics, who barely swept him. They won close games each time. One game, the first game, he scored 63 and it went to overtime. They were relieved to get out from under the guy that Larry Bird called God disguised as Michael Jordan.
Okay, Skip, if we look at the last three finals LeBron has lost, he's 33, 11, and 9.
Okay.
So what credit do we get for that? Did he win? Did Michael Jordan win?
Yeah, once he broke through, he just won and won and won.
Skip,
he would have won 8 straight finals.
Skip, who's to say that Giannis, once he breaks through?
So here's the point. The Giannis I'm seeing, he's not an alpha. He doesn't have, as they say, that dog in him. He does not have takeover intangibles. He's a complementary star, and Richard is exactly right. He's in search of maybe not a Jordan, but a co-star. He's Anthony Davis in New Orleans, where he was the PER prince in search of his LeBron. And he found him. Anthony Davis does not have that dog in him, as Charles Barkley said a few weeks back. Anthony Davis is a complementary, a Robin to Batman. He's a supremely talented Robin, but you watch, now that the playoffs are starting for the Lakers and the spotlight is getting really bright and hot, let's see how Anthony does under that spotlight. This ain't Portland anymore.
Is that the same Charles Barkley that predicted Portland was going to win?
Okay, all right. But
so you nitpicking what he said. You said Anthony Davis ain't not that dog, but you didn't mention he was absolutely wrong.
Charles is much better on critiquing players and like social issues that we're about to talk about in a few minutes on this show than he is predicting games.
Can I ask you?
He is foolish when he predicts games.
Can I ask you a question? So was Kevin Durant, when his leaving OKC, going to Golden State, was he Pippen?
Going to Golden State?
Yes. When Kevin Durant
left, I told you why he left.
It doesn't matter, Skip.
Yes, it does. What are you talking about? There you go again. You're moving the goalpost.
Skip.
I dug in up front on that in 2012. I said on television, on ESPN, Kevin Durant is going to leave Russell Westbrook because he can't stand playing with a primary ball-handling decision-maker who gets to decide every time up the court, my turn or your turn. I think it's my turn, and I got the ball in my hands. And we're seeing it right now with James. Can James win with Russ? It's hard.
Skip, we got here because Jay Williams said LeBron James and Scottie Pippen for going to leak up with D-Wade, and now you changed it again.
Oh, no, you changed the subject because you asked a bizarre question that was off subject. Now we get to Jay Williams. And he says, LeBron was a Pippen with D-Wade once. Well, no, he wasn't. And there we agree. Okay, it's just wrong-headed. I don't know what Jay is trying to say because, no, he wasn't. What had LeBron just done? Well, he'd won back-to-back MVPs. Did Scottie Pippen ever win an MVP? No, he didn't. That 1 year without Jordan I think he finished third, I believe. Okay.
And he was the All-Star Game MVP.
He was an All-Star Game MVP. But at that point, LeBron had been a 6-time All-Star and twice won All-Star Game MVP. He is Jordan-esque in his talent.
Right.
I don't think he has anywhere near Jordan's intangibles. That's highly debatable. But the point was, he tried in Cleveland to do it by himself, and he ran into my Spurs in the 07 finals, and it's like, I'm the best player on the floor, but I got swept. And he was. He's the most talented player on the floor, and it's really by far that he was the most talented player. And then we turn around in 09, and he hits the shot heard round the world to save game 2 at home against the Orlando Magic. And then it starts to get rocky again, and he loses that series in 6 games. Flamed out. And then the next year, Boston became his last year, the first go-around in Cleveland. And you know what happened. It flamed out. He played one of the all-time great games on a Friday night at Boston in Game 3, and they're up 2-1, and they go, loss, loss, loss.
You see what you do, though, Skip? When LeBron James loses, he averaged 36 in that series.
Okay.
Hold on, Skip, just let me finish. When LeBron James loses, he always flames out. Michael Jordan loses, all you do is say, look at the numbers that he put up. You cannot have it both ways.
Time out. Against Boston, it got so bad that someone from LeBron's camp leaked to ESPN that LeBron had to be sedated before games 4, 5, and 6, all flame-out games for LeBron and the Cavaliers against the Boston Celtics because of an interpersonal issue, inter-locker room issue with a teammate. And I called baloney. In fact, I said, I need to be sedated because that got leaked because I don't believe he was sedated before those games. Then Dan Gilbert publicly accused LeBron of quitting in those games against the Boston Celtics, which obviously was leading to LeBron's departure. I take my talents to South Beach. He needed a big brother. This is what he was. LeBron at that point was Batman with Robin's intangibles. He didn't know how to win yet. He needed somebody, Dwyane Wade, a very close friend and a big brother figure, to teach him to win. You had to go to Baltimore and you taught some of those younger players, this is how you do it. This is how you handle yourself. And Dwyane taught LeBron how to control his emotions, how to channel his energy in the right direction, how to quit reading social media, quit listening to what I say or anybody else says, and lock in on the goal at hand, which is finally in 2012 beating the Oklahoma City Thunder. But it took 2011. It was the all-time flameout for a superstar in the finals. It was the meltdown of meltdowns by LeBron James, and it taught him a lesson. I need to learn how to do this, and Dwyane helped him immensely, and everybody believes that. But nobody believes that he went there as Scottie Pippen. Everybody saw him
But that's
as
what Jay Williams said.
Okay, well, that started it. So it was so wrong-headed by Jay Williams, in my opinion. Why would LeBron even respond to it? Why would you honor it? Why would you validate it? Why would you fuel the controversy?
The same reason when they asked Michael Jordan, could LeVar Ball beat him one-on-one in his prime? The exact same reason Michael Jordan responded. Because at some point in time, I'm just not going to let you keep spewing bull jive.
Huh, interesting. Well, what does it really matter in the throes of the playoffs? We're about to, they're starting tonight.
Are they playing? Well, they weren't playing. He Skip, you make it seem like he was in the middle of a timeout, and Frank Vogel was drawing up a play, and he tweeted that response.
What happened to 0 dark 30?
He said it wasn't that. Didn't he say that?
Well, I thought that was because of social, racial justice issues that he could follow
That's
those
not what
on
he said.
social
That's not what he
media.
said,
Well,
Skip.
I thought that
That's
was
not
the
what he
point.
said. Skip, he made it abundantly clear that he was not going to be that because it was a different situation. He's not at home, and he needs to keep his phone on so his kids, his wife, his mom, and things of that nature. So you've already made that abundantly clear. This is going to be unique.
Well, he kept his phone on in all those 0 dark 30 years. You don't think his wife couldn't get a hold of him at the arena? You don't think he had a cell phone that he kept open for his wife, Savannah?
No, Randy probably had that.
Okay, well, he could be reached.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing now, so don't give me that. So LeBron tweets. Explain to me why I can't say the word. I don't know why LeBron tweets these words.
Yeah, tweet it, Bron.
Explain to me what I got to do with this subject matter. Well, explain to me, LeBron, why you would even involve yourself in this subject matter.
See, this is what I don't get. When Jordan responds to something someone says.
You know what? It's the first and probably last time I ever saw Michael respond to anything. I covered him when he was a player. He just scoffed at anything anybody said.
Let me ask you a question. So when they talked about him and Clyde Drexler being in the same class, did he scoff or did he respond?
respond on the court?
No. Did he?
He responded on the court.
Skip, stop it.
Well, he didn't go to the media and say.
Skip, did he, in the last dance, when they asked him about Clyde Drexler, did he respond, Skip?
Now?
See?
Well, what are you talking about? Did he respond? We're talking about, he's playing right now. Is LeBron still active?
No, he was not playing. LeBron James was, Skip.
LeBron is trying to get ready. He says, I'm over here minding my damn business. Well, mind it. Mind your business.
Skip.
What are you responding this for?
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Richard Jefferson, under your scenario, so was Karl Malone or Scottie Pippen or what? Because he's a two-time league MVP, and he didn't win. So what was Karl Malone?
He was a Jordan.
Why? He didn't win nothing.
Yeah, because he ran up against the Jordan.
No.
That's all. It's period. End of story.
No.
He was an alpha.
No.
He was the takeover. He had killer will.
So Charles Barkley. So what was Charles Barkley? He was a Pippen.
Yep, he was. Well, he was.
Skip, this is ridiculous.
No, it's not ridiculous. I backed you into a corner again, and it's okay.
Skip.
I'm telling you exactly what's going on here. There's no need for LeBron to respond to this.
Why can't he respond?
Because you know and I know he was not Pippen going to Miami. This somehow hit some nerve.
Skip. If someone says something enough, you know that because we got a guy in the White House because he said something enough and people started to believe it. You know how this business works, Skip.
I don't know about the White House, but I'll let you have that one.
Skip, if somebody says something enough, people will start to believe it. For Richard Jefferson to say that Giannis Antetokounmpo is a Scottie Pippen.
He said he might be.
So let me ask you
and
he
is.
Let me ask you a question.
He is.
Let me ask you a question.
You can keep saying it. I said it already.
Let me ask you a question. When Giannis Antetokounmpo got into the league, what was Richard Jefferson's thoughts on him? Did he think he would be MVP? Let alone 2. Did he think he would be 1?
Idea.
Well, he might be. So let me ask you a question. He should come out like you tell me. Be definitive on it. Don't say might. Say he is, and he's not going to win a title. Okay. That's what he should say. Jay Williams, for you to say LeBron is Scottie Pippen, you do realize that LeBron has 4 MVP. He had 2 at the time and was a skip. He was a 6-time first-team All-NBA before he ever stepped foot.
I got it. You are correct. So in the end, all I care about is in the biggest picture that LeBron went to Miami as a Batman with Robin intangibles. That was the point. You could see it in Cleveland. He needed somebody to show him the way.
Let me ask you a question. Had Chris Bosh and D. Wade had elected to come to Cleveland, or he could have got another superstar to join him in Cleveland, do you believe he leaves? Yes or no?
In Cleveland?
If he could have gotten a superstar,
he needed help.
Yeah.
He needed lots of help. He joined forces with 2 All-Stars, and he joined forces with the guy that I had already proclaimed was the best clutch player in basketball at that point. You can look it up.
Actually, so what was Kobe? Was Kobe still in the league then?
Listen, Dwyane Wade was special. He took on his shoulders a team pretty much by himself, and he went to the free throw line that is LeBron's liability. You know it, and I know it.
Yep.
And he carried them to a finals victory over the Mavericks.
Yep.
That's what he did.
The blasphemy is so egregious with LeBron, and that you want to make this point about LeBron, that now you saying Dwyane Wade was more clutch than Kobe Bryant. Everybody universally said Kobe is the closest thing to Jordan as far as mentality, as far as clutchness, as far as
look at Kobe's record in taking clutch shots. It wasn't that great. Kobe was a great player, and he was the closest thing overall to Jordan.
Well, hold on.
But you want to talk about making clutch plays and shots? Go see that guy in Wade County. Go check him out. He was special.
LeBron James got more clutch shots than both of them.
He doesn't. He's missed more clutch time free throws than any star in the history of this league.
So now we go back to free throws. You said shots. You didn't mention free throws.
No, do you know how many times he's run from the three-point line, run to the three-point line and run from the free throw line?
You know how many times he made
Here's
it?
the final point about Scottie Pippen. The reason the analogy doesn't quite work is Pippen was never in search of a Jordan, in need of a Jordan. He fell into Jordan's lap. He got drafted by the Chicago Bulls.
Well, actually, Scottie Pippen might be Jordan, because I know Jordan couldn't get out of the first round until Pippen got there.
You know, talk about blasphemy.
The facts. Like you tell me facts. Ain't no conjecture here.
Okay, point out one series. My final point to you. I want you to find one Michael Jordan playoff series in which he flamed out, shrank, and disappeared like your man did in the 2011 finals, or the 2010 against Boston, or the 2009 against Orlando. Find me one. Go look. You can have the rest of the show, and if you can bring it back, we'll do the topic, because you won't be able to find one.
So it's like losing. Whether you lose by 50 or you lose by 1, you lost. He averaged 70, and they lost. He averaged 43, and they lost. He averaged 35, and they lost. He couldn't get out of the first round until he got Scottie Pippen. That ain't conjecture.
Did anybody ever report that Michael Jordan needed to be sedated for the last 3 games?
I don't know what he needed.
Lost?
I know he needed Scottie Pippen.
Okay.
He needed, that's the shot he needed.
No mercy.
OG Anunoby bailed out the defending champs last night against the Celtics to avoid going down 3-0. With only half a second left, Anunoby drained a three to take the 104-103 victory. Jaylen Brown said the last play was, quote, a bleepin' disgrace, and there was no way they should have lost that game. Shannon, do you fault the Celtics or credit the Raptors for this final play? Just watching it back, pretty special.
Skip, you can't give up a 3 to lose. They get a 2-point basket, you go to overtime.
Yep.
But you can't lose in that situation, because the play before, if you look at it, Skip, Kemba Walker does an unbelievable play to break down the defense. And I didn't see it till the last second until he passed the ball. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? And then I see him pass the ball to Tice. Tice gets a dunk 0.5 seconds. I was like, well, this game's over.
Yep.
Because I know they got to take it out on the inbound, Skip. So as long as you don't get a guy getting something going, get a three-pointer going to the basket.
Yep.
But for Kyle Lowry to throw the ball over 7 foot, 7'5" is Taco Fall, 7'5", 7'6"?
8'4".
As Kyle Lowry said, he's 7'12".
He is 7'12". Yep.
So, Skip, to throw a ball across the court over a man of his height and to throw it to OG and hit him in his pocket because he doesn't have a whole lot of time, Skip. He's got 0.5 seconds to get this shot up and to the basket. And for him to do that, it's unbelievable. I don't know if that might be, that I believe is more spectacular than the 0.4 second that Derek Fisher used to beat your Spurs. Because at least, Skip, he was right there this turn. But to throw the ball across the court, and if you look at it, you see OG running the baseline. And I don't know if it was Jaylen Brown, I don't know if it was Tice, but somebody had a miscommunication on that. Because there's no way, Skip, like I said, I'll give you, if you make a 2, at worst case, Skip, I go to overtime. We play 5 more minutes. We see what happens. Okay. But I cannot give you a 3 in that situation. It's really hard for me to say, did they lose or did they win? But it took an extraordinary play. So I'm going to tend to lean to the extraordinary play and say they won it as opposed to the Celtics losing it.
I take nothing away from the play because it was a 1,000,000-to-1 shot on both sides, the pass and the shot. It's a 1,000,000-to-1 that you're going to
Which was more difficult?
Well, the pass.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But I fault the Celtics for allowing this to happen. If they play straight-up man-to-man defense, this cannot happen. They played...
Switching everything.
No, it's a zone. It's a zone concept.
Somebody come in here.
So Jason Tatum starts in his portion of the zone over on Anunoby in the far corner by the bench, over on the inbound side. And Anunoby, OG, runs the baseline, and Jason lets him run because he's in his zone.
Right.
So he falls back looking for Van Vliet, okay? And now on the backside of the zone is Jaylen Brown, and he has to wonder, gee, do I shade Gasol? Because if you lob it to Gasol and he dunks it, you're going to overtime.
Correct.
So he shades, and at the last second, it's like, oh, bleep. He threw it completely over my head, and I got to run out and take a running leap at this, kind of like James Harden did on Dort. But he couldn't get there. And to your point, the pass it might be a 1,000,000,000-to-1 shot that you pull it off because you have 7'5" Taco Fall in front of you, and to pull off this pass...
It's not like Kyle Lowry is 7 foot tall.
No, he's 6 feet tall, and he has to to cock the basketball behind his head with two hands.
Yes.
So he's throwing a two-hand overhead pass, not a baseball pass. And as soon as Brad Stevens put Taco in, I said, the only way he's going to get this ball in bounds is to bounce it to the right or bounce it to the left. And I'm looking for bounce. Are you going to bounce it?
Right.
And all of a sudden, he hauls off, two-hand over-the-head pass, and arches it over Taco, who was not exactly leaping. He was just, because the ref told him, you can't lean in, you just have to keep your arms straight up. But still, it's a deterrent. And Kyle Lowry throws it over the top of his outstretched arms. And to your point, it has to land perfectly into the ready, aim, fire position where OG is, he's like, ready, my hands are right here because it's 0.5. It's not 0.4, but it's 0.5, and you better just touch it and shoot it.
Right.
And he pulled it off.
Right.
And he beat the clock, and it was fair and square. Yep. And he was ready to go. He was 2 for 4 from 3 at that point, so he's feeling pretty good about himself. And they flat out stole a game that felt like the whole game long Boston was going to put them away.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. But Skip, as I'm looking at it, what is Tice doing? If it's a zone, why is he starting at the top? All he has to do is just front Gasol. Just make sure Gasol can't get the ball. Look at it. Look where he is. Okay, look at Okay, he passed off. Now, think, where you going? Okay. If it's a zone, you take it. He took a man.
To me, it's too cute. You know, like it's too complex. It's more simple just to say, we all got a guy, and we're going to stick with our guy.
Right.
And Lowry admitted the play was designed to go to number 1 Siakam or number 2 Van Vliet.
Right.
Well, okay, so you can't find them. And then out of pure desperation, you see your man OG way across the floor. And you can barely see him because of the roadblock in front of you that's 7 feet 5 inches tall.
Marc Gasol did a good job of picking Jaylen Brown also. But if Tice was where he was needed to be, so I'm going to put that on Tice. Okay, because Tice started chasing when he didn't have to.
Okay, but what if Jaylen Brown has OG man-to-man and he just runs with him? What happens?
Yeah, that play doesn't happen.
It's not going to work.
Right.
Now, maybe you get it to Van Vliet and he's got more of a turnaround open shot. I don't know.
Just don't give up a 3.
Yep.
That's all. Like I said, I'll take your chances in overtime. But if you give up a 3, it's over.
But remember, it's a 2-point game. It's not like the proverbial 3-point lead where you have to just defend the 3-point line because they have to shoot a 3. They didn't have to shoot a 3. They could have shot, but 0.5, about all you could get is a lob dunk to Gasol.
Correct.
That's about it.
Right.
On a 2-point, right?
I believe if Tice does not chase through, he stays where he is. So now we've deterred the lob to Gasol, and now he doesn't get the pick on Jaylen Brown. Okay. Because Tice goes away, Jaylen Brown sees that and says, yes, they can still throw this lob to him, and they get a dunk, and we go into overtime.
He stayed home.
Yes. And so now in that process, you see OG sneak down the baseline. And by the time he wheels, he has to wheel out from behind Gasol. So I'm going to put that, they talk about Jason Tatum, I'm going to put that on Tice.
But Jaylen Brown took the fall, so to speak, taco fall, after the game. He blamed himself. He said, the way that defense is designed, that OG is my guy. Right. Because he's the backside of the zone. Right. So effectively, you have to be alert. I just don't like the concept.
But Skip, think about it. If he doesn't hold Gasol, they can throw it to Gasol. Gasol can turn around and shoot a 2-point shot.
Totally
so he's
agree.
like, okay, I got the hold. I don't think he realized that OG had run the baseline. Okay. He's so focused on Marc Gasol. So his peripheral, he's not looking at the baseline, Skip. If you watch this play, watch it. Yeah. He's looking. He doesn't even see it because his back is turned to OG. Yep. OG starts in one corner. His back is turned. He comes all the way baseline.
Okay. That defense that they played has one hole in it, and it's way over on the backside. And it's going to require what we both agreed is like at least 1,000,000 to 1, if not 1,000,000,000 to 1 shot pass over Taco Fall, and they pulled it off.
It's almost like, Skip, you're playing Patrick Mahomes, and you're like, he can't throw that ball over there. Right? He on the left side. He can't throw it all the way clear across the field.
Right.
He did it.
Because sometimes a zone defense has a hole in it if you can find it.
If you can find it.
And if you're good enough to exploit that hole.
Correct.
If you have a big enough arm or whatever,
Yeah, but the shot, and I heard OG said, hey, I don't shoot to miss. I shoot, I took the shot, felt good about it. But the pass. Skip, I mean, to get that ball over Taco Fall and to throw it clear across court and to have it in his shooting pocket, because if it's not in the shooting pocket, he's not going to be able to get it up and get it off.
So I still believe Boston's got no shot in this series. I mean, I'm sorry, Toronto.
I agree.
There's no shot.
I agree.
Because you're missing one superstar. You're missing Kawhi Leonard.
Siakam has not been.
Siakam
hadn't really been good, Skip, since they've been in the bubble.
He's not that guy.
No.
He's another complimentary star to me. Listen, Kyle Lowry, he's got that dog in him.
Oh, yeah.
But he's 6 feet tall.
Right.
And Van Vliet's got that dog in him, but he's about 5'11".
Yeah, he's 6 foot tall.
Okay? So they can do only so much. But in the end of these games, you need that one guy where you think, we got that guy and you don't, and they don't have Kawhi Leonard.
Well, we can. I think we'll both agree on this. Pascal Siakam is Alvin Harper. He ain't Michael Irvin. Michael, it's amazing how look at the plays that Alvin Harper was making when Mike was there, and then he went to Tampa, and look how he looked.
Okay.
When Kawhi went away, so it's one thing to have that dog, Skip, and they say, you know what? We're going to take you away, and you still go get those numbers.
I used to have battles with Alvin Harper over what you just said. He did not like it when I suggested what you just suggested.
But it was everybody saw that except him.
Thank you. If you're watching, Alvin, see, I was right all along.
Yeah, I watched him on tape. He's not that good. It's because that 88 is not there.
Yeah, thank you.
Moving on, guys, I do have some Patriots news to get to because it seemed like it was only really a matter of time, but Cam Newton has been named the starting quarterback for the Patriots. Not only will Cam be starting in New England, but he was also voted by the players to be one of the 3 offensive team captains, filling that void left by Tom Brady's departure. So, Shannon, are you surprised by these moves?
Skip, you and I both agreed. If he can get, because Cam didn't sign until like June 8th, June 9th, I think if I remember correctly. So basically, they don't go to training camp until like mid-July. So basically, he has 5 weeks, 6 weeks to get up to speed. And I said the advantage that Stidham has, that Brian Hoyer has, they played in this offense. But the advantage that they have by knowing this offense is not as big as the advantage that Cam has as far as talent.
Yep.
Because that's vast. That's the Grand Canyon size between his talent and their talent. And once they got into Cam, and Cam could okay, let's equate some of the things that Cam really does well. Okay, let's move the pocket. Let's give Cam an opportunity to run the football. We'll call design runs. What's this, Skip? Now it's over.
Yeah.
I think what's so shocking, I don't think Cam being the starter is shocking to people. What's shocking is that Cam was named the captain. Because if you look at it, Skip, Junior Seau, you know how distinguished Junior was. Junior had to wait a year. You remember what Randy Moss was? Randy Moss had to wait a year.
He did.
Cam comes in the very year. Coach Belichick has heaped more praise on Cam Newton.
No doubt.
In 3 weeks than he heaped on Tom Brady in 19 years.
Correct.
And Tom Brady.
Yep.
You doing all this. You doing too much, Coach Belichick. I know you're doing this to get up under my skin. And it's working.
It's working.
It's working.
Yep.
So for me, Skip, I'm not surprised because I thought Cam was the more talented of the quarterback.
Yep.
How soon could he get the offense? But if you tailor this offense as Cam, what do you like? Incorporate that?
Yep.
Well, it was not going to be close. I think him being captain after 5 weeks is unbelievable. And the praise, Skip, Cam works hard. Cam does this. Cam, he's a phenomenal talent. Yeah. I'm like, well, damn. You did have Brady. Now, he might not have been as talented, but he did win a bunch of games for you, Coach.
Yeah. Cam comes early and he stays late, says Bill Belichick. And Brady's saying, Coach,
I opened the building a couple of times.
Yeah. Okay. I'm happy for Cam Newton.
Yeah.
But in the end, I'm not sure whether to congratulate him or offer condolences because this is a tough spot he's in. I got a feeling he's going to have a really good year for a team that I believe is still even more flawed than it was a year ago. And this team was desperate to replace Tom Brady in every way, shape, and form, on the field and in the locker room and in the huddle. And he's hopefully for them, going to fill that void. That's why the players voted him a captain after he's been there. He got signed like 2 months ago.
He got signed June 8th, June 9th, and here we are in 4th of September.
Because clearly, by all accounts, the players love his vibe, his energy. It's different.
Yes.
He's bringing something to the practice field. Tom did, because Tom was obviously all business. He was driven. He was like emotionally focused on the task at hand.
Tom ain't dancing. Tom ain't getting nobody hype at practice.
It's all business.
Yeah.
And now Cam has brought a whole new, he's changing the culture.
Yes.
There is no more Patriot way. It's kind of the Cam way right now, and everybody bought in, it sounds like, including the head coach. Well, you need that. You're desperate for that, so way to go. I love all the above, but I don't love what he's going to have to be left to work with here. Because trust me on this, somewhere down in Tampa Bay, Brady's sitting back saying, okay, let's see how you do with what I had to work with last year. Because let's look at Pro Football Focus. I know we're going to talk about this a little later in the show, but I'm going to bring this up just to put this in perspective, what Cam Newton is working with right now. Pro Football Focus still ranked Tom Brady last year the 10th best quarterback in the league and said that some of the reason for his drop-off in passing performance was due to the lackluster receiving unit in New England. It went on to say that Brady's 2019 stemmed from his receivers and the fact they couldn't get open. Well, they ranked dead last in separation. The 2019 New England receiving unit actually posted the worst receiving grade by a Patriots group since Pro Football Focus was founded back in 2006. Okay. How did that receiving unit change? It didn't. So I look and I say, well, timeout. Julian Edelman didn't get younger. He got a year older.
Right.
And he had off-season shoulder surgery after he led the league in drops last year. And it was reported that he had very serious injuries to a knee and to his ribs that would have ended a lot of other players' season. But he toughed it out and toughed through it. Okay, he's back at age 34. N'Keal Harry, I thought was going to be maybe even a star. He started in week 11 last year, and for whatever reason, he did not click with Brady. Maybe he'll click with Cam. But what else do they have as the backups to those two? They signed Damiere Byrd from Arizona, who was like the 4th, 5th receiver in Arizona. And Matthew Slater, the special teams ace, is now the other backup wide receiver. Okay, well, that's it. Well, good luck with this, Cam.
And guess what it is, Skip? The guy that they gave him a second-round pick, they're going to release him.
Mohamed Sanu is gone. So that was the midseason acquisition that was going to save the day, and Bill Belichick swung and missed.
I told you, I said, Skip, I don't know why they didn't go to Denver and get Emmanuel Sanders.
Okay, so it was reported that Belichick was in the Fournette Derby, Leonard Fournette, but that he wound up with Tampa Bay. Well, so Sony Michel has been beat up. He had off-season surgery. They said he got a little heavy through the offseason, and he's kind of in the doghouse.
Quarantine.
Quarantine. Well, okay, he's quarantined. and James White's still there, and he's really good. But that Damian Harris, the kid, he's got
Alabama.
Some kind of broken finger or something, so he's a problem. Rex Burkhead is still there. Can you win with those guys? I don't know. It's not like you have Leonard Fournette there. You don't. And then we look at the opt-outs. No more. Dante Hightower opted out. Patrick Chung opted out. On offense, Brandon Bolden's gone. Marcus Cannon, who's a pretty good offensive guard, is gone. Marquise Lee, they signed at receiver from Jacksonville, gone. And then they had an exodus on defense featuring no more Jamie Collins, Landon Roberts. They traded Jerron Harmon. Kyle Van Noy is gone. Danny Shelton's gone. They're rebuilding the defense.
Well, Skip, if he wins that division, Coach Belichick is Coach of the Year.
Well, Cam will be the MVP. Seriously. No, I'm not overstating. I believe if they can win the division, if they can overcome Buffalo, who went 10-6 last year and added Stephon Diggs. Is there a Diggs on this roster? Nope.
Whatever they got, we got old Bump Run Gilmore.
Oh, yeah?
Old Bump Run ain't going to let that happen, though, Skip.
Okay, well, he's a player.
Yeah,
I'll give you that
one.
Okay, you got that one, and you got who else? Can you even name anybody? Well, you got the two McCourties. Okay.
But are you surprised that Julian Edelman isn't the captain?
I hadn't even thought about that, but maybe.
I am.
But I believe he probably led the charge to elect Cam.
Yeah. Right? But hey, you could lead the charge. But at the end of the look, Skip.
Hey, wait, time out. I'm not surprised because what happened out here in Beverly Hills like 4 months ago, Julian was on the hood of a car.
It was a parade.
Oh.
And you know, in the parade, you ride on the Jenny. You know, you from, I don't know if you're from a small town, but in the parade, they ride on top of cars. It wasn't a parade.
There was no parade.
Oh,
I think
bad.
it was a parked, like, Rolls Royce or whatever.
My bad.
And Julian was dancing on the hood of the car, and I believe he got arrested.
Yeah, and I think it was also late in the evening.
Oh, it wasn't like a date.
Okay,
my bad.
It was actually early in the morning.
Yes. Early morning.
Okay, so it wasn't a parade.
You were disqualified from being the captain?
Yeah,
right?
you're probably disqualified for that.
Okay, so how much do you trust this team to overcome a team that most people are picking to win the division, the Buffalo Bills? Again, they went 10-6 and added Stephon Diggs. And you know and I know they had a playoff game won at Houston until Deshaun pulled a Houdini.
Yeah, I'm going to take Coach Belichick because I still trust Coach Belichick more than I trust Sean McDermott. And I'll trust Cam more than I trust Josh Allen. So...
Okay, I'll give you that. But I liked what Sean McDermott was doing.
Oh, yeah.
They felt like a real football team last year. I know they came to Dallas and destroyed my team on national TV on Thanksgiving. But it felt like he was building something that would last there. I'll give you Cam over Josh Allen, no doubt. But after that, I'm just not sure. That the Buffalo team on paper is way better than this team on paper.
But remember, though, Skip, last year there were no expectations. As you mentioned, people are picking them to win that division now.
Yep.
So now there's a lot of expectations that's coming along with this. And I think there's not a whole lot being expected. I mean, it's New England, but are we really expected? I mean, as you mentioned, look at the list. 10 guys opted out. They lose 5, 6, 7 key free agent led by Tom Brady.
Yep.
And so I don't think there's as much expected of them as it is Buffalo. And Coach Belichick just sitting back there. He's doing commercial. You see him do the old Subway commercial?
I did.
He said he went Brady because Brady was hogging up all the commercials.
Really? Was he really?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he was hogging them up.
So I'm going to give you this. I thought that Cam might be used in Cam packages because it felt like he wanted Stid, as he calls Jared Stidham, to be the starter. But remember, Jared Stidham had some undisclosed leg injury that was so bad he had to be hospitalized, and we never heard the outcome of that.
Right.
But it set him back so far. They had to go with Cam. So, again, I'm happy for Cam. It gives you a better chance because we have 5 cases of Diet Mountain Dew bet on Patriots having a better record than Tampa Bay.
It ain't going to happen.
Right?
Skip, but you know what? Coach Belichick was talking Stid. I don't know if he wanted Stid to start more than he wanted Tom Brady gone. I believe he wanted Tom Brady gone more than he wanted Stid.
Okay. But wouldn't he love to be able to show people, I picked Stid in the 4th round, and I made him my new Tom Brady?
Yeah, but think about it, Skip. Cam got released. He said, I took a guy that hadn't been healthy in a couple of years, got him off the scrap heap.
Okay.
And y'all got that guy down there, and I'm going to win more games than y'all.
Well, once upon a time, Cam was an MVP.
He was.
He did play in a Super Bowl.
Yes. Hopefully he can get back to being healthy and be that again.
Yep.
No mercy.
Charles Barkley on TNT's NBA coverage last night defended the Nets' hiring of Steve Nash after what Barkley viewed as unfair criticism. Take a listen.
I was very disappointed at some of the guys on television today talking about white privilege. Very disappointed. They're like, well, this doesn't happen to black guys. And I'm like, well, it happened to Doc Rivers. It happened to Jason Kidd. It happened to Derek Fisher. So I was really disappointed. I just think when you have a responsibility, especially when you have to talk about something serious like race, you can't be full of crap. You got to be honest and fair. So listen, like I say, Steve Nash is a great player and a good dude, but I was so disappointed on these guys. I said, dude, black guys have done this before.
All right, Shannon, after listening to this, do you agree with Charles?
Skip, it doesn't happen often, but I do agree with Charles in this situation. Skip, and I've did some research on this. Skip, did you know 70 to 80% of the jobs that get filled are never listed, advertised publicly?
Jobs anywhere?
Anywhere.
Like in the world?
In the world.
Okay. I did not know that.
75% of those jobs are filled by how, Skip? Networking. I know Skip. Skip knows somebody. Jenny say, hey, they're hiring over at Fox. You ought to put an interview in. So guess what happened? Steve Nash, Sean Marks, Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
You see how that works, Skip?
I mean, Sean Marks played with Steve Nash
in Phoenix.
And Steve Nash sort of mentored
Kevin Durant for a couple of years in Golden State.
Yep.
Mike D'Antoni, like myself, hell, I didn't know Steve Nash wanted to be a coach. But
I didn't either.
Skip, let's just say for the sake of argument, it was his complexion that helped him get that job. Well, are you going to hold Kevin Durant and Kyrie culpable? Because they signed off on it. They could have said, no, we want Ty Lue. No, we want Sam Cassell. No, we want Mark Jackson. And what would Sean Marks have done, Skip? He'd have hired Ty Lue, he'd have hired Sam Cassell, or he would have hired Mark Jackson. Mm-hmm. I just believe in this situation, and Charles laid it out right. Derek Fisher had no coaching experience and got a job. Isaiah Thomas had no coaching experience and got a job. Now, I will say this. Now, for the most part, if you get fired, you normally have to take an assistant job, work your way back up to become a head coach.
Jason Kidd.
Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni get fired, Skip, what'd he do? Go get a head coaching job. He get fired again, what'd he do, Skip? Go get another head coaching job. And that's normally what Mike Woodson. He was a head coach. What he got to do? Working with Doc. So now I think he might be going back to, actually he back at the Knicks with Tibbs. So for me, Skip, yeah, and I agree with you. We got to be careful, because we don't want to dilute what that is. And sometimes when we throw it out there, and I know everybody's disappointed because Steve Nash, you're like, damn, I didn't even know he wanted to be a coach. He wanted to be a coach, and next thing you know, he got a premier job with 2 premier players. Mm. So I'm going to agree with Chuck on this one, although we don't agree philosophically. We're far apart on a lot of different things.
I got it.
But on this one, Skip, I'm going to agree with Charles.
Okay, so Doc Rivers got a head coaching job with no coaching experience.
No.
Jason Kidd, same. Derek Fisher,
Same.
Okay, just for the
Isaiah
record.
Thomas, same.
Okay, got it. I defer to you on all these types of issues, so I appreciate what you're saying. All I know, my 2 cents from a distance is, obviously, you have to be careful.
Yes.
In these situations that you don't dilute the message of what you, when you have an issue with something that really counts and really matters.
Right.
You don't want to dilute your message by taking a stand on something that's not quite on point or worth it.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
So I don't know what transpired to set off Charles. I did not hear the commentary, maybe you did, of others. I know it was mentioned that my friend Stephen A. Smith was one of them.
Yes.
I did not hear exactly what Stephen A. said about this, but I know him very well.
Right.
And I have the greatest respect for him when it comes to his stances on racial injustice. And if, in fact, he had an issue with this, I know it came from a strong, good place.
Right.
So I'm not taking any issue with Stephen A. for a fact over this. But in this case, I just know, what was the old expression? It's almost like an old school expression about playing the race card.
Right.
You know and I know that the race card can be played right now in this country 1,000 different ways, and it works.
Right.
It matters. It counts. But obviously you have to be on firm footing when you play it, or you will dilute it to where white people will say the next time, well, you said it about that.
You said about this.
You say it about everything.
Right. Correct.
Well, say it about white cops and black people. You got it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So in this case, in the end, my issue was I thought Ty Lue was made for this job. I don't care what color Ty Lue is. Right. I just know he's made for this job.
Right.
He is overqualified for this job. But to your point, I know who runs the show there. Those 2 young men do.
Yes.
And if they said Steve Nash, they're going to hire Steve Nash.
Because they didn't even have to. Skip, when you get guys of that magnitude and you don't have to recruit them, they call you up and say, hey, I'm signing with you. Kevin Durant calls me up and say, I'm signing. No visit, Skip, no visit, no talking to anybody, no nothing. I'm signing with you.
He said, well, Kyrie said to go there. I'm going to go there.
So they have they carry a lot of weight. Now, it's being also reported that Ty Lue is close to signing with the Sixers. So we'll see.
Okay, good. Good for the Sixers.
That's very good, Skip. But I agree. Now, Jock Vaughn, he got demoted. I thought he did a good job.
I did too.
I wouldn't have been surprised had he got the job.
I would not
because
have
they started playing better after I forget the guy that he ended up getting fired and Jock Vaughn took over for him.
Yep.
And so I thought, but hey, they said, look, we want you to stay on. We're going to make you the highest paid assistant. Okay, hopefully he gets an opportunity to eventually be a head coach. But I've given up. I'm not giving up. I'm still, I get that Mark Jackson has been whiteballed for some of his stances on certain issues that maybe some people took offense to.
I would agree. And let's just say on some religious issues.
Yes. And some people took issues of that, Skip. But I think this had more to do with Sean Marks being familiar with Steve Nash.
Yep.
Kevin Durant signing off on this. Kyrie saying, okay, I'll sign off on it also. I think that had a lot to do with it because if Kevin Durant and Kyrie wanted someone else other than Steve Nash to have this job, if they say, you know what, we want Skip Bayless to be our head coach. I
volunteer.
Skip Bayless is going to be the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets. So for me, Skip, we got to be careful. I agree. We got to be careful because there are instances in which the privilege is abundantly clear.
You got
but
that
I'm
right.
not totally sure that is the case in this situation.
Okay. Kenny Atkinson was
Kenny Atkinson.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Did he have any cool factor, any reputation, any resume? No.
Well, he had hair like Pat Riley.
I guess so. but I'm talking about resume.
No.
Okay, so what does Steve Nash have going for him? He won back-to-back MVPs.
That ain't easy to do.
It is not easy to do, and he's a cool guy.
Right.
And everybody likes him. Mm-hmm. And obviously he had the connection helping coach Kevin in Golden State. And Kyrie, by all accounts, is in awe of what Steve Nash used to do because Steve Nash, you were talking about a handle?
Yes.
Maybe it wasn't quite Kyrie's, but it's in the ballpark.
And you got to think about it, Skip. He won back-to-back Finals MVP with Kobe in his prime, LeBron in his prime, T-Mac in his prime.
Just MVPs.
Yeah, I mean, back-to-back. I'm not Finals. Back-to-back MVPs
right.
with those guys. Skip, Kevin Durant doesn't have back-to-back MVPs. There are only, two guys? I believe Giannis is going to get it this year, and LeBron. That's it.
Okay, so it's a cool hire.
Yeah.
It's a way outside the box hire, but it has magnitude because he's got NBA resume.
Yes.
He's got cachet about him.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
He is in the Hall of Fame, and he played at the highest level position that Kyrie plays.
Yes.
I can't argue with it, except that Ty Lue showed me he can handle superstars at the highest level. You made a great point yesterday. It's possible that Kyrie didn't love Ty while they were together in Cleveland, and maybe he viewed Ty as more LeBron's guy, and he doesn't want anything to do with looking like I needed LeBron's guy to help me win. We want to go it alone and blaze a new trail with the new guy.
And plus, this thing for me, Skip, is that Ty Lue was in with the Lakers, and he had a front row seat to see how Phil Jackson dealt with Shaq and Kobe.
He did.
I don't know if it probably won't get to that because you got two guys vying for it's my team, no, it's my team, no, it's your team, no, it's my team.
No, that's a good
So
point.
I don't believe that's going to be the situation in Brooklyn. Ooh. So I thought Ty Lue would have been a great hire. But when you step back and look at it, okay, Steve Nash has credentials. He is a back-to-back MVP. Mm-hmm. He is a Hall of Famer. He led the league in assists. So it's not like they just took some guy out the boot. Now, Steve Kerr was a different animal, Skip. He was an analyst breaking down games, and he got the job at Golden State. And it's like, well, and you saw what he did in his first year. No coach has a higher win percentage or won more games through their first 4 or 5 years than Steve Kerr. So they're hoping like, well, hey, maybe we can get that with Steve Nash. We got two superstar players.
But remember, Steve Kerr took over a team that had been primed by Mark Jackson. Mm-hmm. They had been taught the right way to play on both ends of the floor. Yep. Mark did a sensational job of getting a young team ready to win. Right. And Steve Kerr stepped in at the golden moment, and they were Golden State.
So you know what we did with Tony, like John Gruden for Tony Dungy. Tony got all those guys in there, he got them primed.
I agree. Yep.
Well, it has been almost a week since we've seen the Lakers in action, and tonight it all gets started between the Lakers and Rockets. But is it actually a matchup nightmare for LeBron? We explain.
No mercy.
After having nearly a week off, LeBron and the Lakers are back in action tonight in Game 1 against the Rockets. LeBron said the week off did his body good, and at this point in his career, the more rest, the better. The Lakers went 1-2 against the Rockets this season, but LA remains the favorite to win the series. So, Shannon, who wins the series, and in how many games? How confident are you?
You know what it is, Skip. I don't even know why we having this conversation. Lakers, I got 5 on it. That's it.
You got 5 on it?
5 on it.
5 cases on it?
5 games, 5 cases, 5,
Okay,
whatever you want.
I will bet you 5 cases if you will pick a sweep.
No.
Right now.
I said 5.
Put your do where your mouth
Oh,
is.
I just
You're
said
over
5.
there bumping your gums, throwing your chest out. We got this. Sweep. 5 cases or 5 games?
5 games.
Okay.
5
so
games.
you're giving Houston a game?
Give them a game. Let them have a game. Let them
Which
have a
one,
game.
tonight?
No, they're not getting that one.
okay.
We're not getting that one. I mean, we might take our foot out the gas, it's 3-0.
Oh, okay.
Try to take our foot out the gas, 3-1, then win it 4-1, something like that.
Okay.
Skip, right? I love what I'm seeing in the last 3 games, what I've seen from Anthony Davis and LeBron James. They're playing at an extremely high level. And we put you in that pick and roll, it's over, Skip. And we didn't show a whole lot of that because we knew we were saving it. Now, we don't really want to do a whole lot of it because we saved it for somebody else. You know who that somebody else is.
Clippers?
Don't worry about that. They worry about their own business. Don't worry about us, what we doing over here. Y'all get your good night rest. I mean, you rested last night.
Yeah.
That mess with the Nuggets put on TV, I can't believe they did that. All the Lakers need is KCP. Just do what you did the last 2 games. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Danny Green, he gonna catch 5. He gonna give us a couple of those threes here and there. That's all we need. Adrian Brown gonna do the rest, Skip. We're gonna pound them on the glass. We're gonna take care of the ball. We know they're scrappy. We know the chances, what they have to do. The 50-50 balls, they got to win 85-90% of the 50-50 balls. They got to do that. They got to, try to get some deflections, some steals. They got to have active hands. We understand all of that. But when it's all said and done, King and the Brow, we marching on.
I'm going to say it one more time. Your playoffs start tonight. Portland was a joke of a team. Portland had no business even being in the playoffs.
Yeah, they did.
They finished 5 games under 500 for the whole year. They were a terrible defensive team. The worst in the bubble for sure. One of the worst, if not the worst, in the whole league this year. They played little to no defense. And up front, I picked your Lakers to sweep the Trailblazers, and and I know they should have. LeBron had the ball in his hands, 7 minutes to go, 4th quarter of game 1, up 6. You're up 6? Home, James. Take it home. Nope, he couldn't take it home. They got outscored down the stretch 19-6. It was shameful, and it was embarrassing, and they finally got it in gear against a team they should have blown out in games 1, 2, 3, and 4 and been over and out. But they did not until game 2. You started to see what really should have happened in game 1. So I believe I was right about that one, and I believe I'll be right about this one. Lakers in 7. It's going to go to the last drop and the last shot.
This ain't Folgers coffee, last drop. You don't even drink coffee.
Down to the last drop. Good to the last drop? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Folgers? Yeah. I don't drink coffee, but I remember the ad. But you're a lot older than I am, so you go way back before me. I don't remember those old days commercials. This Rockets team is extremely different than any Rockets team in recent memory, any of the James Harden teams. Because somehow James Harden is taking even more pride on the defensive end than he does on the offensive end.
He ain't got no choice when he's struggling offensively.
Okay, but some nights he's not, and he still takes more pride on the defensive end. And I never would have believed it until I've seen it this year. Houston plays hellacious hard defense. It's weird, it's zony, it's amoeba-like mad scramble defense to the point that when I watch, it feels like there are 8 Rockets on the floor at one time, and they're going in all directions, and somehow it works.
You do realize y'all win 7 games with OKC. Can you tell me the player that's the equivalent of LeBron James or Anthony Davis on the OKC Thunder?
The Thunder were really good all year, led by Chris Paul. They were the best clutch shooting team, clutch time team in all of basketball. Would they go 44-28 in the regular season? Tied Houston in record because they're extremely well coached. And they're deep in unknown talent, such as Lou Dort, who nearly won the whole series in Game 7.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, well, I'm serious. That is a really good, hard-nosed, well-coached basketball team that was a bad matchup for Houston.
Frankie V.
They can out-Houston. They do the same things.
Frankie V
This
have
is
them right.
different. It is hard to simulate how hard Houston plays defense in practice. You have no idea what's about to hit you. And you've been saying, who's going to guard AD?
Who's going to do it?
Then I see the stat. I think Tom Haberstraw had the stat yesterday somewhere. I saw it on the internet. Nobody has done a better job on Anthony Davis this year in the NBA than P.J. Tucker. What is he, 6'5"-ish maybe, 6'4", 6'5"? He gets up in you. He moves you off your spot because he is so sly and savvy and so physical because he's another one built like a football player.
Skip.
You know it, and I know it. Covington has been all defensive team several years, and he's now the driving force of that defense. Eric Gordon plays really hard on defense. Jeff Green plays hard and smart on defense, and yet the emotional leader of the defense is James Harden, along with another guy who will come after you, Russell Westbrook.
You do know the numbers that Haberstraw used. It's less than 10 minutes.
Okay.
It's 39 possessions.
But
That's
it's,
less than 40%.
It's a thing. It happened.
Skip.
Well, it happened.
So you know what? And so if I go out there and I play LeBron for 5 minutes and he misses the 3 shots that he take, it's gonna say Shannon Sharp guarded LeBron James to best. Really? After 5 minutes, you're willing to take that, Skip? In 3 games, you're gonna take 10 minutes out of 3 whole games and say this guy did the best job against Anthony Davis. Really?
Do you know what these Rockets used to do to Golden State? Do you know how those series
Lose.
would go?
That's what they used to do to Golden State.
They would
Lose.
go deep into the series because they would get physical with Golden State and knock them off their spots and out of their comfort zones.
But you're talking about guards. You're talking about Steph, and you're talking about Clay, and they've really never had a big man that is as skilled as Anthony Davis. They've never had a guy that's 6'8.5".
No, 6'9", 275.
The hell, 275. He done lost weight.
He looks like he's put on a couple.
No, he ain't put on nothing. Okay. They ask him what's he been doing since he had this time off. He says, I've been training, video games, working on my body. That's what he been doing.
Well, that's training and working on your bodies.
Sometimes he be getting physio. He be meditating. He getting acupunctures. He's doing Pilates. He's doing gyrotonic. He's doing all the things necessary to make sure.
So I love to watch these Rockets also play offense because they are revolutionary, as we all know. They are going to take 50-odd threes a game, maybe more, and they're going to make 20-odd of those 50. And if you make 20, that's 60 points right there. It's hard to deal with because the math is on their side. You think, we got them, and then they make a couple threes, and they're still with you. They're hanging in the game. And
guess what, Skip?
Yep.
When they shooting all them threes, they might have a big lead, and guess what? They start missing. And then guess what they do? Get you back in the game.
Oh, okay. We'll see. I loved what James Harden said after the game when he was asked about the upcoming Lakers series. How do you feel about them now? Star power, he said, because he gets it. He and Russ grew up just south of the L.A. airport here, LAX, Southern California, same age. They're both 31 years of age. So they came up in the Kobe and Magic eras, the Magic and Kobe eras. And one was a big Magic fan, Russ, and one was a big Kobe fan, James. They played against each other in AAU basketball, and they know star power. They're Laker fans, and they're going to rise and shine against the team they grew up rooting for. They're not afraid of LeBron James. They're definitely not afraid of Anthony Davis. They're going to come at you and play high-level star power basketball, and they will hang in these games, and I believe they will win 3 of them and push you to the brink in the 7th game.
First of all, Skip, they were told about the Magic era because I believe they were born in '88.
Yep.
And that means by the time the Showtime Lakers was over, it was '91. They were 3. They don't remember anything about that, so they grew up with the Kobe. But that's neither here nor there.
But Russell was a big Magic fan because he wanted to be that kind of player.
Well, you know what? We'll allow him to come to the parade and get his autograph and get his picture taken because that's what we do. We're going to allow everybody to come down there and get their picture taken. So hopefully, the social distancing, you have to have your mask on. There'll be no touching, but we're going to have a booth. that all the fans will be able to come down there and take their pictures with Laker great when we celebrate.
Are you going to be riding in the open convertibles with the Clippers?
No.
I don't get it. Are you going to be, because you share the arena, you're going to share the parade with the champion Clippers?
We'll have two parades. We're going to have one because the Lakers, we got to have this thing up in Beverly Hills, Bel Air, come through there. And then we're going to go down there by the old farm and go down. That's what we do.
Really?
Yeah.
Go to Inglewood?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I think it's going to be the year of the Clippers. I think we learned that last night.
Yeah, Skip, stop that.
Yeah.
Hold on. So one game, you learned that.
Made it look easy last night.
That team was a tour de force.
It was like a different.
Skip, I told you this was going to happen. The Nuggets have they played 3 game 7s.
Fair. They a little tired. Maybe
Your day coming.
Turn around. Okay.
Your day coming.
No mercy.
Cam Newton has been named the Patriots' starting quarterback. Not only will Cam be starting in New England, but he was also voted by the players to be one of the 3 offensive team captains, filling the void left by Tom Brady's departure. And according to Fox Bet, the Patriots have the second best odds to win the division at plus 140 behind the Bills. Super Bowl champ and Fox Sports college football analyst Reggie Bush is joining us now. Reggie, good morning. Always great to have you. I want to start with you.
How you doing?
Now that we know Cam is the starter, will the Patriots win the AFC East?
Oh, I don't know if they're going to win the AFC East because I think this is going to be one of their toughest years. I think this is going to have to be Belichick's probably best coaching year just based on the fact of all the pieces that he's lost. We could just start on defense. They only got 5 returning starters on defense. You talk about losing Kyle Van Noy, Jamie Collins, Dante Howard, and Patrick Chung. That's a lot of productivity on the defense side of football. That's going to be tough to replace. And then the most obvious, replacing Tom Brady, Gronkowski, and they just released Mohamed Sanu as well. I believe this is probably going to be a run-heavy kind of year for Bill Belichick. I think that's why he's stacking up on running backs. They added Lamar Miller to an already crowded backfield. But here's the other side of it as well. You got Cam Newton, who's coming off of injuries. And so I know this is probably going to be a year where they're going to want to use Cam Newton as a dual threat option, which they should do that. But at the same time, Cam Newton had shoulder surgeries multiple years, and he also had the Liz Frank surgery as well, I believe in December. So those are things that you got to watch out for. You can't just throw Cam Newton in there on a 1-year deal and say, okay, we're just going to go run heavy, dual threat, week in and week out, because you still got to protect Cam Newton because he is still the captain of the ship as of right now. And you want to protect that investment.
Oh, I'm picking him because I trust Coach Belichick more than I trust anybody else in the division. I like what they're building up in Buffalo, but I don't know if I trust Sean McDermott more than I trust Coach Belichick? No. Do I trust Josh Allen more than I trust Cam Newton? Absolutely not. I believe Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to start the season, but I believe at some point in time Tua will take over that job in Miami. The Jets going to do Jets things. MESS, mess is their moniker. So I don't have no faith in them. But I just believe that Coach Belichick will put Cam Newton, he and Josh McDaniels will put Cam Newton in the best situation in order for him to succeed. And when he succeeds, that means this team will succeed. I will give you this. The number 1 scoring defense took a substantial hit with a lot of these guys opting out and a lot of these guys leaving via free agency. But the one thing we know about Coach Belichick, he can coach defense. And it doesn't matter. He'll find guys that, that guy, he wasn't any good. And Coach Belichick will coach him up and have him ready to play. So they're going to win this division, and I'm going to win me some cases to do because I predict that they're going to have a better record than them old Buccaneers, and somebody going to be bringing me 5 cases.
Oh, I don't know about that one, Sharp.
Yeah. Reggie Bush, this man across me, just admitted why he's still hanging in against all odds with the Patriots winning the East, because a long time ago he bet me those 5 cases that Belichick's team would have a better record than Brady's new team, and Reggie and I both know that ain't going to happen. The Bucs are going to go 12-4.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are. And this team is going to be lucky to go 8-8. By all accounts, if we just go on last year's record, you remember that this team is going to play the hardest schedule in the NFL. you already know there was this mass exodus on defense, and that was before the opt-outs of Dante Hightower and Patrick Chung, and the opt-outs on offense of Marcus Cannon, who's a pretty good offensive guard, and then they added Marquise Lee to the receiving corps. He opted out, and even Brandon Bolden opted out as a potential receiver, kick returner, special teams player on offense. So, Reggie, to your point, I'm happy for Cam. I expect Cam to have a really good sort of a bounce-back big year trying to replace Tom Brady. But as I told Shannon earlier, I don't know whether to congratulate him or offer condolences because he just inherited what Tom Brady had a hard time overcoming a year ago. Pro Football Focus ranked the receiving corps in New England last year dead last in separation. They just couldn't get open. And Belichick beefed it up by adding, help me out, Shannon, nobody? He added nobody. He lost Mohamed Sanu, who was his big trade deadline acquisition last year, and he was a bust. And he had offseason ankle surgery, and he is gone. So Julian Edelman didn't get younger. He got a year older off shoulder surgery. He's 34 years of age. He was the #1 ball dropper in the NFL. He led the league in drops last year. And N'Keal Harry, I thought was going to be pretty to very good, and I couldn't see it over the last half of the year after he came back from injury last year. So you're backed up by Damiere Byrd and the special teams ace Matthew Slater. That's all you got? Help me out.
Reggie, before you go, Skip, you said, what did they rank? Pro Football Focus rank the receivers?
Dead last.
Oh, but Pro Football Focus also ranked their quarterback 19th in QBR, 27th in completion percentage, 27th in yards per attempt. So it wasn't like he was Patrick Mahomes. It wasn't like he was Russell Wilson himself. Why you yakking over there, Skip Bayless?
Did he have Rob Gronkowski to throw to? No, he did not. He had nobody to throw to. He had Antonio Brown for like a minute.
Yeah.
And he had Josh Gordon for maybe 3 minutes.
And I'm sure those receivers was up there talking about, man, I sure wish I had Russell Wilson.
Oh, really?
I wish I had my homeboy throwing me the rock because this guy can't get me the ball.
I just hope Cam can throw it to himself because he's going to have to throw it
Giselle.
to himself and he's going to have to run it himself.
Okay.
Because that stable of running backs, they were in the Fournette Derby and they missed out on him because everybody's questionable in the list of running backs.
Yeah.
I don't know. Damian Harris is hurt. I don't know. Maybe it's Lamar Miller. I don't know. How are you going to do this? Their offensive line ranked last year 14th in run blocking and 16th in pass blocking. Do you think it's going to be a world beater this year?
Well, I mean, you got to hold up. I mean, you need an army to protect Tom Brady because he can't move. The Statue of Liberty has moved more than 200 years than Tom Brady ever did.
Well, I hope Cam is as durable as the Statue of Liberty is. He's going to have to be made of steel this year because he's going to take a licking.
We got Guerrero. Didn't he stay in Foxborough? Guerrero, didn't he stay up there? Or he went to Tampa?
No, I think he went to Tampa. And by the way, I add on to this long list, you now have a rookie kicker. There's no more Gostkowski.
He in Tennessee.
Good luck.
Oh, wow. Well, Skip, you just said it because this has to be the year that Cam Newton is extremely durable and extremely healthy. You just listed all the reasons why, because their receivers, they've lost so much at the receiving core. And that's why I alluded to Bill Belichick stacking up at the running back position, because I believe he even knows that he has an issue at the receiving core, receiving position. Also, you have to think about, again, Cam Newton has had a number of injuries to his shoulder. How well is he going to be able to throw that football this year if you're banging him up running the football as a dual threat option? That's the one thing I worry about, because Buffalo's defense got a little bit better. They added A.J. Epinesa, who I think is a great player, great addition. And then they also added Josh Norman, who we know loves to be on the island. So we're going to see if that island is still open for business. And then on the offensive side of the ball, they added Zach Moss, who is a bell cow workhorse who can bang it up in the middle on that Patriots defense. So that's where I want to see. I believe Buffalo is right now in the lead. But the one thing you can never discount, which I think Shannon also alluded to, is Belichick, because he's always going to have a plan. If you think this is the year you're just going to waltz into New England and just run over them, you're crazy. That'll never happen. Belichick will never do that. He's always going to have a plan for you. There's always going to be a system in place, and there's always going to be a specific way that you have to beat him. He's not going to make mistakes. He's not going to beat himself. You're going to have to come in there, and you're going to have to play fundamentally sound football.
Reggie, one other addition in Buffalo where you once played, Stephon Diggs. Does Cam have a Stephon Diggs in New England?
No. We got the baddest Stephon in the AFC East. Galmo. Galmo. Lock it up. You remember what he did to Amari Cooper?
It made him quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the man did a serious offense the way he had it walking in shackles.
Oh, can you do that again, Shannon?
No, don't.
No mercy.
Just this morning, Adrian Peterson was released by Washington. Peterson played 15 games and led the team in rushing last season with over 800 yards. The All-Pro running back has the 5th most career rushing yards with just over 14,000. Reggie Bush still with us. So, Reggie, where would you rank AP among all-time running backs?
AP is one of the best to ever do it. When I think about the memories that I have playing against him, I go back to college when we played Oklahoma in a national championship game. And I remember that whole week leading up, all we did was watch film on Adrian Peterson and watch film on just the way he ran the football, the way he finished his runs, just the passion and the purpose that he ran with. And then fast forward to the NFL when I got a chance to play against him when he was in Minnesota a number of times. And my most memorable game against him was against in the NFC Championship game, where it came down to a last-minute field goal where we're in battles. And I have to say this, man, I've always been a tremendous fan of Adrian Peterson, even to the point to where there were times in games where I would see him in highlights, doing things, running people over, and I would try to go and replicate that the next week or in practice. And that's how much respect I had for him because there was always that friendly competition, whether we were on the football field or whether I was watching him in the highlights, running over guys, stiff-arming guys. I mean, his stiff arms were nasty. And just the way that, again, he finished his runs, to me, Adrian Peterson is one of the best to ever do it. Obviously, he ranks, I believe, 5th all-time in rushing yards, 4th in all-time in rushing touchdowns. And so what it really comes down to for fans is he a tier 1 where you putting him in the same conversation as Walter Payton, Jim Brown, Emmitt Smith, or are you putting him in the same category and conversation as Marshall Faulk or LaDainian Thompson? He's somewhere in there. I believe all those running backs, again, are the best to ever do it. And I believe Adrian Peterson fits right in there somewhere. And he's been able to have a great career. Nobody has had, I think, a better career than Adrian Peterson. He's been able to play, till he's 34, 35 years old. And that's something to be said for as a running back in this league. A lot of running backs don't get that opportunity. So to me, Adrian Peterson is one of the best to ever do it. And he's somebody I really, appreciate.
It's not that he's 34, but his style of running, and he was able to play till he was 34, Skip.
That's true.
He was a collision. He ran to contact. Yeah. Normally, guys that run to contact, Earl Campbell, didn't play, Skip. I think he played like 7, 8 years.
True.
Yeah. When you look at it, as you mentioned, he's 5th in rushing. And I believe, had he not been on the commissioner's exempt list, Skip, remember, he missed, 14, 15 games that year. Yeah. He hurt his knee and missed another 13 games. So that's 27 games. And that's kind of like in his prime. So you probably robbed him of another, 3,000 yards? Let's just say 2,500 yards. So he gets 1,200 yards each year, so 2,500. So instead of 14,000, you're looking at 16,000. We talked about this, Skip. I think we had this conversation about a month ago, and we talked about, was he going to break Emmitt? And I said, I don't see it, Skip. I just don't see it. I don't know if he's going to get enough attempts, and I don't know if he's going to be able to hold on long enough. Yeah. And so now that he's been released, he's probably going to have to go somewhere else. Do I see him getting another 4,000 yards rushing? I don't. I just don't. And for me, as far as running back, you mentioned Jim Brown, Walter Payton. You taking him over Barry, ED, and Skip? I know it's kind of sacrilegious to mention his name, but I'm just talking about in a football context.
Do it. I'm with you. Just say it. O.J. Simpson. Thank you.
Man, Reggie, I know this before your time.
No, but Reggie knows.
When I was growing up, You wanted to be OJ. Everybody, you was fighting to get 32 in Pee Wee football. And man, look here. Even Lyman was trying to get 32. I'm like, dude, you block it. What you talking about, you OJ? You not no OJ. True. He was special.
True.
And so for me, I agree, you like LT and Marcus, Earl Campbell, Tony Dorsett, but I don't know if I can put him in front of Jim Brown, Walter, Barry, Emmett, and ED and OJ. I can't put him there.
Yeah. Okay. Back to Reggie Bush. Can you please tell our viewers, Mr. Bush, what the score of that Oklahoma-USC national championship game was, please?
Come on, Skip. I don't want to remind the man, but it was a lot to a little.
It was a lot to a little. I can't remember it because I'm an Oklahoma fan and I don't want to remember, but it seemed like it was 55-14 or something. It was like 40-0 at halftime. And it was reported you guys were all laughing in your locker room at halftime because it was a mismatch.
We were.
Okay. So just for the record, I watched Adrian Peterson all through college. And at times, I must admit, he frustrated me because he's a high carry back that you have to be patient with.
Yes.
You have to let him bang away and bang away and bang away. And if USC blitzes you in the first quarter and jumps out to a 21-0 lead, he's rendered obsolete.
Yes.
It's over and out.
You got to throw it now.
I have the greatest respect for everything Reggie loved about Adrian and what you brought up. You want to talk about a workout warrior. You want to talk about high contact, high collision warrior on the football field, the passion he played with, the endurance, the longevity. It's extraordinary. Now we're back to this is beauty in the eye of the beholder.
Yes.
Okay? This is my list. You know how I feel about our man, Eric Dickerson. It's not because he's our man. All he did was set the single-season rushing record, which still stands, and he set the playoff rushing record against my Dallas Cowboys that still stands, 248 yards. Well, Adrian, in 5 playoff games, averaged 3.6 a carry. It's not all-time great.
No.
Is he up in the top 10, as you point out? Yes. He's in the top 10. But I go, Eric Dickerson, I'm going to say it again. O.J. Simpson, I know what he did off the – we get all that. But he was all-time great.
All-time.
Jim Brown was all-time.
Yeah.
He dominated this league for the short career that he played, but it was like maybe 8 years.
I think he played, Well, he led the league 8 of the 9 years.
Yes, he did. Okay, but he dominated for 8 years.
Yes.
Emmitt Smith, just on pure longevity, I've never seen anything like it. One game for my life, would I take Tony Dorsett over Emmitt Smith? I would, because I covered Tony Dorsett, and he was electrifying.
Right.
But Emmitt, you have to give him his due.
Right.
You have to rank him. I got him 4th, and Barry Sanders was obviously special. I can't not put him in my top 5. And then there's Walter, and then maybe Adrian somewhere in that 7-ish range. But again, I don't want to diminish what he did.
No, he was... rookie of Skip, MVP, rookie of the year, 2,000-yard rush season, 7 Pro Bowls, 4 first-team All-Pros. And Skip, like I said, I believe, had he not been on the commissioner's exempt list for 14, 15 games, he doesn't hurt his knee and miss another 13 games. He might now we might be on to something, Reggie, where you're talking about, you know what? He has an outside shot because you're talking about maybe 2,500, 2,700 yards, and now he's at 17,000 with about 1,200 to go. So I think
Do we believe he's done? Do we believe somebody will give him a shot?
Maybe.
I believe that he's probably done. I believe, a team, right now, somebody's going to have to get hurt in order for him to get a shot somewhere. But I think when you talked about the MVP for a running back, that's special, man. To win an MVP in a QB-driven league, right? To be able to go out there and to run your way into an MVP is very special, man. And I don't know when the next time we're going to see that happen. But, with the way these quarterbacks are throwing the football now, I believe it'll be a long time before we see another running back win an MVP.
So, Reggie Bush, your number 1 running back of all time is who?
Walter Payton.
Really?
All day. Walter Payton is my guy.
Because?
Just because of everything that he did, everything he represented, the way he ran the football. I used to think Walter Payton was 225 pounds. I didn't know he was only like 185, 190 and running over grown men like that. That's absolutely crazy to me. So, Walter Payton is my guy. And then I believe next will be Barry Sanders. Barry was the guy I tried to actually emulate. I wanted to be Barry. When I was in Little League growing up, I try to do all those moves that Barry did, but Barry to me was next in line right behind Walter Payton, just because his style was so unique that it cannot be duplicated.
No,
right? You can find other running backs to run people over, but you can't find running backs to shake people the way Barry did.
Yep. I'm going to give Reggie Bush this. Reggie was the closest thing to Barry Sanders I ever saw.
Yeah.
I give you that.
I appreciate that, man.
Yep.
Thank you.
Barry said, in my 14 years, there's only been 2 guys that I got up off the sideline because I wanted to see what they were doing. That was Barry Sanders and that was Jerry Rice. If you had to see Barry, you had to see him do it in person because TV doesn't do him justice. Because you can literally see people like, right, okay, they got him. Man, he got 20. How y'all didn't get it? You were right there. I mean, he made you look foolish.
He would go backwards 20 and forwards 40.
He was unbelievable. I mean, he had people running into each other. Like, he made you look like Keystone Cops.
All right, Reggie, we appreciate your stories. It was so nice to hear that. And then I, of course, have so many memories watching him in Minnesota. And, guys, he did say, without a doubt, he wants to keep playing. So we'll see if he ends up somewhere.
No mercy.
Sunday on Fox. Terry, Howie, Michael, and the guys get you ready for the 2020 NFL season like only they can. The NFL preview show Sunday at 7 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. We're getting close, guys. All right, after Richard Jefferson said that Giannis might be a Pippen that needs an MJ, Jay Williams chimed in saying even LeBron played that role when he teamed up with Dwyane Wade in Miami. LeBron didn't take too kindly to that and responded with this. Explain to me what the bleep I got to do with this subject matter. I'm over here minding my damn business, preparing for Houston. And by the way, I ain't never been nobody but my damn self. That's followed by a crown and another, little swear word. Just a couple things he threw in there. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard with us now. Chris, I want your take on this. What do you make of LeBron's tweet?
I love this tweet, and I thought the first 2 lines were funny. Like, man, I'm just chilling, in the bubble, playing video games, drinking wine, getting ready for our next series, and you dragged me into this. So I thought that was funny. But I thought the third line, and by the way, I ain't never been nobody but myself, I thought that was the hammer. And I thought he did a great job of saying, look, I was never a number 2, but he did it without disrespecting his number 2, D. Wade.
Correct.
And without disrespecting Scottie Pippen. Okay, because he was obviously an all-time great. So let me get to what Jay Williams said. LeBron James was never a Scottie Pippen, and here's why. LeBron James from day one has always been the best player on every team he's been on. That dates back to his freshman year of high school, even though Maverick Carter, his buddy, was the state player of the year. LeBron was the best player. Maverick will admit it, I think. All right, but he has been the best player on his team. Scottie Pippen was never the best player on a championship team. Scottie Pippen never won an MVP. LeBron had 2 when he went to Miami. Now, if you want to say, well, D. Wade was the inspirational leader, D. Wade was the dog and all that, okay, but LeBron was the best player. And D. Wade even knows it. And when he went to LeBron in the offseason after they lost to Dallas, what'd he say? We can only win a championship if you gonna be the man. You have to be the guy. Can you even imagine Michael Jordan thinking about saying that to Scottie Pippen? No. Pat Riley called LeBron James the GOAT when he was in Miami. Best of all time. Again, nobody's saying that to Scottie Pippen. So it's not comparable. Now, let me finally say this. With the Giannis stuff, I actually think Giannis, rather than like Scottie, rather than like Michael, is more like LeBron in that, again, every team Giannis is going to be on from here on out, he's going to be the best player. I mean, unless he joins Kevin Durant or Kawhi Leonard or immediately LeBron, he's going to be the best player. But what he needs, like LeBron needed, is a number 2 guy who can go and get it. You need a number 2 guy who is a dog, so that if LeBron can't get his or Giannis can't get his, Wade can do it. Kyrie can do it. And those are the times LeBron's won championship. But everyone knows LeBron was the best player on those teams. He just needed a second guy who could go get it, not a Chris Middleton or an Antoine Jameson or Mo Williams or some of the guys LeBron had in Cleveland. So I think that's an appropriate comparison, even though LeBron certainly was more skilled offensively than Giannis at this point. But he still needed a second guy who could go create his own shot and get his at a high level.
Thank you, Chris. That's all I've been trying to tell Skip this morning. That's all I've been trying to tell. I'm talking in this monotone voice because I don't want to get upset, because I was upset earlier.
I'm still upset.
You should be upset for talking that foolishness. Chris, you know what has happened? The Last Dance has convinced people that Michael Jordan never lost a game, that he went to the finals. Every year he was in the NBA, he won them, and he normally won them in dramatic fashion. You and I both know that's not the case. Michael Jordan won one playoff game in his first 3 playoffs. He won one game. Now, what Skip Bayless will not tell you, Chris, is that you remember in 1989, Michael Jordan had a 2-1 lead on the bad boy Pistons. Am I correct, Chris?
Yep.
And what happened? Yep. He lost 3 straight games. So was he Michael Jordan then or not? Everybody keeps saying, well, Giannis is MVP. I remember a guy named Michael Jordan won the regular season MVP and Defensive Player of the Year and got bounced in the playoffs. And nobody said that he was less than. See, Michael did not win. Giannis has only been in the league, 5, 6 years? Okay, give him time. Michael won. We're not taking anything away from Michael. Michael is historically great. He's transcendent great. If you want to say, for the sake of this argument, he's the GOAT, okay. But to say Giannis is less than because he's not winning he's not winning a championship in his first 2 to 3 years, stop this. Even when Magic Johnson won the finals MVP, nobody said he was better than Kareem. But now we take this, a guy don't win, well, he got to be the second tier. Come on. Man, don't do that. Get a guy an opportunity. It takes time. And we don't right now, we think if you're great, well, if you're really great, you should be winning. Come on. Nobody said when Kevin Durant joined the Golden State Warriors, he's Scottie Pippen. No, they didn't say that. He was an MVP, and he needed help to win, and he didn't feel he could win in OKC. That's okay. But to say, to try to, first of all, not only are you diminishing Scottie Pippen because you're making it seem like he's a bum, you diminishing the other guy that's MVP. So stop it, Skip.
I'm going to start it, and I'm going to start with your point about Kevin Durant. Oklahoma City management and coaching staff treated him as the Pippen to Westbrook. That was the problem. And it went on and on and on. And Kevin finally said, I can't take this anymore. I give up. I'm going to go join forces in my 10th year in this league with those guys in Golden State. And we're going to go win championships. And they did.
They did.
Thanks to Kevin Durant, who was the finals MVP back-to-back. Now, let's get back to the start of this. Richard Jefferson's first tweet was, Giannis might be a Pippen. There, I said it. He needs his Jordan. Richard Jefferson is correct about that. And I'm first guessing ahead of the curve. You have your ability to say, you're right, give him a break, give him a chance, give him time. I'm seeing Giannis start to fold again against Miami. I think they're in huge trouble against another team that is tough-minded, physically tough, and well-coached that just says, you have a big hole in your game, and intangibly, you're not the alpha that can take over a game against us. So we wall you off. We keep you from the rim. You're not going to swoop to the hoop and play Wilt Chamberlain against us. You're going to have to beat us with what you don't have, which is more of a mid-range jump shot. It's the same thing Toronto did the last 4 games of that playoff series last year when Giannis shrank. He was not to be found, especially in the fourth quarters and the overtime of those games. He shot 35% from the field in those games. That's not MVP, but yet the bar has been raised because he's the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year in the same year.
Yes.
Only Jordan, only Olajuwon before him did that. So we're grading him by the highest standards. They're harsh and they're unfair, but he can't live up to that. I believe Richard is correct.
Well, who says he can't? So let's
Okay, I'm on record. I believe he's not an alpha.
So
I think he's a complementary star. He's in search of his LeBron, like AD needed LeBron.
Do you believe at any point in time in his career, Giannis will win a title?
He's going to need a co-star who's more of a takeover guy, an alpha, a leader, a dominating presence internally. Giannis is not a leader. He's not the guy who takes over every game for that team. Do you think he's the go-to guy for them? I don't see it.
Well, they try to go to ball.
Do you see?
They try to go ball. They try to go ball movement when they get in situations like that.
Okay, I get it. But now let's quickly go to the other tweet, Jason Williams, who says LeBron was a Pippen with D Wade for a while. No, he wasn't. He wasn't. Now we've left the tracks.
Thank you.
We're getting out into no man's land. No, not true. LeBron, to Chris's point, had won 2 MVPs. He did, again, I told you, I thought he was a Batman in search. Well, let me do this. He was a Batman with Robin intangibles in Cleveland.
Right.
He needed Dwyane to be a big brother to say, this is how you do it. And it took a while because LeBron obviously melted down and flamed out the first go-around with Miami against Dallas in the 2011 finals. But then they figured it out.
Right.
And against Oklahoma City, I call them the Baby Thunder, but they still had Harden, Westbrook, and Kevin Durant.
Right.
LeBron broke through and said it's about damn time, right?
Right.
Okay, so now my final point back to both you guys is LeBron did not need to acknowledge this. He didn't need to validate it or fuel the controversy. Just let it lay. It wasn't worth it's beneath his dignity to stoop to respond to this. Yes.
No, because you know
Here's what I would say, Skip.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
A lot of young people who, let's face it, there are people out there who didn't see LeBron in Cleveland his first go-round. They have vague memories. I'm talking about younger people, obviously. Vague memories of LeBron in Miami, maybe. LeBron couldn't let that go because too many people would say, oh, wow. They would take that as truth. And he was a Pippen. And so I think he was smart to acknowledge it, again, without disrespecting Pippen, but he did it in a way to say, no, don't get it twisted. I was never Scottie Pippen. So I thought he was right to acknowledge it.
Exactly. Skip, look at this. Jamal Murray had a great series, but I don't think anybody's going to say Jamal Murray is better than Nikola Jokic.
Well, if Jokic would play a hint of defense, maybe we did. Okay. Go ahead.
But so if I concede in the series against the Dallas, D Wade had a better series, but he wasn't a better player.
No.
At no point in time, and they played 17 years in the same league, did anybody say, man, D Wade better?
No.
And D Wade was phenomenal. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, 3 titles, 1 Finals MVP. D Wade was special. But to say LeBron was the back, I mean, basically you said he's a backup. He's Robin. That's what you're saying.
I didn't say that.
No, but I'm saying, come on now. And you can't let that go. Because guess what? Somebody says that enough, people will start to believe it, won't they, Chris?
What happened to Zero Dark 30? I want to know. I don't know.
Broad daylight. We ain't in Zero Dark 30.
Daylight. You need to get ready for a real playoff team that you're about to play tonight.
We ready.
Real playoff.
We ready.
I think you're distracted.
We ain't distracted. Y'all can stop. Don't spew that, Skip.
And by the way, LeBron is so much better than cursing in tweets. Why would he have to curse?
Skip.
I don't get it.
I remember my grandma said, boy, y'all gonna make me lose my religion.
Yeah.
I mean, because me and my brother done something crazy. And she said, boy,
you and your brother were not allowed to say these words in that house.
What? No. Oh, absolutely not.
Thank you.
Okay, Chris, we appreciate it. All right, have a great weekend. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll check in with you soon.
No mercy.
My grandfather prophesied over me, and his prophecy was that one day when I grew up, our last name would be known all over the world.
This kid is a complete winner.
Tua's down.
Was as bad as it could have been. It's hard. Nobody goes through this. My name. What's going to happen? Is Tua Tagovailoa.
Fox Fox Sports Films presents Tua, a documentary from the Sports Emmy-nominated Magnify series. Now, obviously, guys, we talk about Tua plenty on this show, and they're going to follow Tua as he attempts to overcome that horrible injury. And he is obviously a player that we have such high expectations and hopes for. It premieres Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox. And Shannon, this is your guy.
Yeah.
So were you involved in this? I mean, what do you make of this? How excited are you?
I might have been involved a little bit. I might have had a sit down and did a little speaking part about old Tua.
Really?
Because I believe he's going to be special. I mean, you watch the way the ball comes out of his hands so easily, so effortless. He changed the way we look at Alabama because before he got there, they were a running power football team. And once he got there, they turned into a team that threw the football all over the field. And that's why he was he finished second one year, was in Heisman contention again until he got injured. So he was special. I believe he's going to be special, and you're going to be shocked.
So I would like to see him start week 1. Don't they play the Dolphins? I mean, the Patriots, right?
Dan Marino didn't start week 1.
Well, this guy's better than Dan Marino, you told me.
You see? Ain't nobody say that, Skip. See, why you just can't just let well enough be? I didn't mention nothing about he was going to be better than Danny.
Well, I can't wait.
Okay, neither can I.
I agree.
I got my little care package, too.
We're already debating Tua. All right, I cannot wait to see this 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Ooh, gives me chills. We're getting so close to the season. Pro Football Focus is high on Tom Brady at the age of 43, saying that he is still, quote, a very, very good QB, and that he was the victim of a bad receiving core. They also say that the Bucs are a lock to make the playoffs. Tampa also signed running back Leonard Fournette to bolster that backfield this week, and the Saints, meanwhile, are countering by reportedly, quote, sending an all-out blitz for free agent Davian Clowney. So Shannon, does adding Fournette make the Bucs the NFC South favorite?
No, Jadavian. Can you imagine Jadavian and Cam Jordan? I ain't gonna look good, Skip. I don't know. I mean, they played. If Jadavian Clowney played week 1, I don't know how week 2 gonna look for y'all. I'm not gonna see your quarterback gonna be there.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Are you predicting that?
Yeah, hey, they coming. Jadavian Clowney, he got something to prove because he want that big payday. Everybody say, nah, you not worth this. You not worth that. So I believe the Saints can get a very motivated young man. Cam Jordan has already said, I'm tired of y'all hyping and doing all this talking, bumping over there about what he gonna do. All I know is this. The Patriots receiver said, y'all keep on talking about us. But the guy really couldn't throw the ball past 15 yards.
Really?
Yeah. So with that being said, no, they're not the favorite. The Saints are the favorites. The Saints will win the division. The Saints will go far in the playoffs, and you'll be lucky. The only reason I'm gonna say you might make the playoffs is because they got an extra playoff spot. An extra playoff spot.
Yeah, just to CYA, as they call it. Is that what you're doing?
Nope.
Yep. So, Pro Football Focus, even before the Buccaneers signed Leonard Fournette, had this ranking and analysis of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
What'd they say?
Number 1, Tom Brady is still a very, very good quarterback.
No, I need to hear great.
And as I attributed all this past offseason, the reason for his quote-unquote decline last year was he had nobody to throw to.
But he did decline. Are you willing to concede that?
Well, statistically, he did.
Okay.
But all he did was do the most with the least he ever had to work with because he had him positioned to be the 2 seed in the AFC until Belichick's defense spit the bit and allowed the current Dolphins starting quarterback, isn't it still Fitzmagic, right?
Yep.
That's what you tell me?
Yep.
Fitzmagic to go 80 yards in 13 plays? Really? For a touchdown to win the game?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's number 1 point they make is Tom Brady was done in by his receiving core because the receiving unit actually posted the worst receiving grade by a Patriots group since Pro Football Focus was founded in 2006. Number 2, the receiving unit might be the best in Tampa Bay that Brady has ever had in his career. Well, I think we could agree with that because they ranked Chris Godwin off last year the number 1 receiver in all of pro football. That's what he performed to that ranking last year.
Stop saying that, Skip Bayless. Now, you know he's not better than Mike Thomas, Julio, or D-Hop, so just stop.
By their standards, by their methodology, he was the most productive receiver in football last year, and he did make the Pro Bowl, as did Mike Evans, who Pro Football Focus calls a difference maker since he stepped on an NFL feel.
Yes, I will concede that.
Pro Football Focus also loves little Scotty Miller.
Oh, no, you love Scotty Miller.
Amendola, Edelman all over again, and they're splitting him out wide because he can fly. Now, point number 3, the Buccaneers, says Pro Football Focus, have a top 10 defense. I've been trying to tell you, Todd Bowles' unit is becoming special. It's going to be a difference-making unit. So the conclusion off this long piece is...
Your conclusion or their conclusion?
I'm with their conclusion.
Yeah, exactly.
While the Saints are in the conversation for having the best roster in the NFL, so are the Buccaneers. And when it comes to areas that matter the most, I would give the slight edge, the guy who's writing this analysis, I would give the slight edge to Tampa. It's coverage units, it's defense, it's receiving core, and they didn't even count Leonard Fournette. I'm picking the Buccaneers to win the South and win the NFC. And the man across from me is starting to sweat underneath his beautiful suit today because he knows what is coming. It's good. I like it.
You like that?
I'm impressed. I would wear that.
You wear it?
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. I think Baltimore, I think you can see Baltimore top to bottom is better than Tampa.
Top to bottom? I don't know that. On paper?
Kansas City.
I don't know that.
Saints.
Yeah.
What about your Cowboys?
Nope. Not.
I don't even want to talk. I don't even want to talk to you.
Well, just not. The defense is still a little suspect in Dallas.
You just told me yesterday.
I told you it's way better than it was, but it was horrible last year.
You were talking about D-Law and Alden Smith and Wolf Hunter's back, and he's healthy. That's what they're saying. They're saying he's healthy. Jalen Smith. And you were talking about Ha-Ha Clint Dix, and he laughed his way right up out of there.
Laughed his way right out of town.
But see, I tried to tell you.
That might have opened a slot for, dare I say, Earl Thomas. I keep campaigning any day now. Jim.
Clarence Hill Jr., I read his article the other day, said he was no longer running with the first unit. I was like, that might be, if he ain't running with the first unit, they signed him via free agency, there's a good chance. If they sign you in free agency and you're not running with the first unit, there's a good chance you're going to be up to get traded or cut.
Okay.
So you were just talking about me. C.D. Lamb, C.D. Amari Gallup, and Amari is dealing with an injury.
I'm not sure it's an injury. It might be what I call the blue flu, as in, wait, he's getting all the shine, so I'm not feeling that well.
Why
right
you
now.
stop?
I'm not feeling that well.
Why you keep coming up with these conspiracy theories?
I just don't know. That's just my 2 cents from a distance. It feels like it because all of a sudden he has been usurped at the top of the depth chart by the rookie I told you is going to change life in Dallas.
Skip, they gave that man $60 million.
I see how you're changing the subject from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, used to be the Succaneers, who went 7-9 last year, and Pro Football Focus is saying they might just be the best team in football.
Skip, they're not the best team in football. Whew. They're not going to win the division. I don't really know how many different ways I need to tell you this. Okay, if you ask me in about 3 hours, I'm going to say the same thing. They're not the best team in that division. They're not going to win that division. They're not going to win the Super Bowl.
I didn't say they're going to win it. I just think they're going to play. The first team ever to play in a home Super Bowl will be Tampa.
Wait a minute. You're going to pick against Tom Brady in a Super Bowl?
I don't know. I got to see how the
at home
up. I haven't made my prediction yet. I got to see. There's some real good teams on the other side of the bracket. I'll see how I feel.
There's a real good team in your division. You're not Skip. It's kind of like it's like you live in a neighborhood and you got a nice house. But there's a house right down the street owned by Larry Ellison or Ira Renner that costs $250 million. And you like, man, I got a nice little crib here, but it ain't that. You got a nice little team in the NFC South, but it ain't that. It ain't the Saints.
I am loving the Bucs over the Saints live on Fox on opening Sunday.
I take Sean Payton. I'm taking Sean Payton.
Are you?
I'm taking Drew Brees.
Yeah.
I'm taking Mike Thomas.
Yeah.
I'm taking Jared Cook. Yeah. I'm taking Emmanuel Sanders. And I'm taking their defense over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Better quarterback right now, Brady or Brees?
Breezy.
Stop it.
Drew Breezy.
Stop
Hold
it.
on. If I'm not mistaken, which one of those guys were higher in the ranking, in the player ranking? Which one of those guys?
Tom Brady's still top 10. I'll take him over anybody right now. With those receivers.
Who had better numbers? Who had better numbers?
Receivers.
We got better receivers. Okay, which one of your guys better than Mike Thomas?
That's Chris Godwin, says Pro Football Focus.
You know.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you for bringing it
The
back up.
anticipation for this season. Just think, guys, next weekend we're going to be watching football. This is so exciting. But until then, we do still have the NBA bubble action. And tonight, LeBron and the Lakers, are they going to be a bit rusty against Harden and the Rockets? I don't think Shannon appreciates that, but we'll debate.
No mercy.
After not playing since Saturday, LeBron and the Lakers are back in action tonight against the Rockets. James Harden and Russell Westbrook are coming off their hard-fought 7-game series against the Thunder and will need to be ready to go against the top-seeded Lakers. So, Shannon, who wins tonight?
Lakers. I see a very similar situation to what happened last night. You see what happened with the Clippers?
Yeah.
The Clippers were well rested. A team coming off a tough 7-game series.
So you're saying
look good
the
for one
Nuggets
quarter.
or the Rockets, right? No, you're wrong.
I think it'll be like the first quarter be filling out, and the next thing you know, Lakers take off and cruise.
Like they did against the Trailblazers.
I love it when we're cruising. We're cruising to a 13-point victory.
I'm going to have the courage of my convictions, and I'm picking the Rockets tonight.
We got 2 cases on it?
No, we got no cases because I'm way out on the limb. I'm picking the all-time huge upset of Houston over the Los Angeles Lakers tonight in the bubble.
So you don't even believe that?
It's impossible.
'Cause this is what I know.
It's so unlikely that you're laughing at me.
You know what I know? I noticed when you believe something, you put some cases of do, like you believe in Tampa.
Oh, maybe
So put some
that's
dew
not
on
too
it.
late. Guys,
I'll shoot you a
enjoy
text
the
later
holiday
today.
weekend. We will be back Monday because we got too much to talk about. Have a good day, guys.